All right, everyone. Well, this is Peter Charkalis. Good to be with you. So, this is the series that's called the Artisan Spotlight Series, and I'm very, very proud to have Douglas Smythe and Francis Towle with me today. So, how are you guys doing?
Doing great, Peter.
Yeah, good to see you both. So, I was actually going to say, in describing you, Douglas, I was going to say musician, artist. So you're a drummer, entrepreneur, podcaster, Facebook lurker. What else can we do to describe you? And superhero. So that's Douglas Smythe. So so you wear a lot of different hats, and I noticed you don't have your hat on today.
No, it's true. I thought I'd go all natural, so to speak.
Well, good to see you guys both.
She kind of grounds me, so.
Well, anyway, it's really good to see you both. So, I have to ask you, because inquiring minds want to know. So, that bed scene with Con is a classic. So, truth be told, I know Fran is sitting next to you. I don't know, Fran, how you feel about this, but so how was Con in bed?
It was just kind of a surprise. I was very surprised, but eventually came around. And
I heard I had a really good time. No, it was more fun than anything else, and it was like the first interview I'd done after Phoenix started, and so on and so forth. I thought, we were originally just going to do it by the window, or do the interview by the window, and I thought, we'll have, since I'm going to be speaking of like symbology in our artwork and so on and so forth, I thought, what could be more symbolic than being in bed with Con? Because right. I want to be accused of that anyways. So I thought we'd just help him along.
Well, that was a classic. That was a great video. You guys did a great job. So it brings me to you had your outfit, you had your hat on and everything, and your sunglasses. So
yes.
So that's the Smythe character. And you once referred to yourself as Smythe as being a character. So my question to you is, how different is the Smythe character to Hodges?
Not much. It's probably a few letters different. No, the character. It's like I did theater, and one thing when you're doing theater is you build a character. You give your character a history. You build the character up around you, and you get into character before you hop on stage, before you pick up the microphone, before so on and so forth. I've been in the performance arts all of my life, and so it seems so natural to me. But yeah, or as a pen name, if you're writing something, especially if you're putting together a blog and you are a little shy. Sometimes, believe it or not, I'm a little shy sometimes approaching different people. So it's great to hide behind, to a certain extent, another name. That way, if you get denied an interview, it doesn't really hurt as much. And that's why when I originally started thinking about using it as a pen name, it's like I can approach all these guys. But the funny thing is everyone said yes. So I was like, oh, I could have just gone by my original name. But I was like, but staying true to my degree and make my mother proud, I have to, I created a character and so on and so forth. But there really isn't much. Pretty much just to protect my private life for the most part. And, well, that worked out. But, yeah, so. But it is nice to have a superhero type persona that you can get into. I mean, Douglas Smythe is, he's sunglasses, he's a Mickey Mouse watch, he's a captain's hat, he's a lab jacket or a Hawaiian shirt. It's something fun, something completely different.
I think it's brilliant. And I honestly, I think most people get it, but there's just a handful that don't. And so my question is, the people that don't get it, is it because they're misinformed maybe? Or do they just not get it?
I think maybe it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Some people don't know how to have fun. They try to find the worst in everything, or they're very suspicious. And I don't blame them. I mean, if you watch TV, you can see why people are like this. Even politicians are like that. They're muckraking. They're taking all the amount of money they put into these like muckraking campaigns upon each other is disgusting. And so, trolling goes way back before the internet. You see everyone doing that. So I think it's just something we learn and we're taught, and like it's so much easier to fall back on that than to actually try and understand something sometimes. So I don't know. But there are a lot of people that do get it and think it's hysterical, and it's fun. I put the FU in fun.
Yeah. Well, that you certainly do. But the thing is, the business speaks for itself. You're doing well. I haven't seen the numbers, but obviously you're doing well. You moved in. I don't know how many artisans actually have their own production facility. I think everyone makes soaps out of their homes, for the most part.
We did.
So, yeah, you did for a while, right?
Some people have their own shops. I mean, it's pretty easy if you keep it small to do it out of your home. For us, we just we came out to Arizona to try to see what we could, how could we build it, how big could we make it, and we had an opportunity to take on some space, and then they just happened to have more space next door, and so for us it was a really natural progression that we didn't have this grand plan to begin with, but just sort of has developed into that, and it's kind of
in a very organic way.
We've grown up with it, and it's worked out perfectly, and now to have the business not be at home has actually, I think, made us more productive, and it's kind of allowed us to have a little bit of separation. So it's just been really nice.
It also makes it more real, too, because in the beginning it's very abstract when you have an online business. Like, you have an invisible business.
Yep.
Like, you can't show anybody your business, your store, or anything like that, but you're paying rent. There's all these different things. So, like, to be able to take that and eventually turn it into something in the physical world is kind of, 2,000 years ago it'd be called magic or something like that. So it's really like...
Right.
It's just so abstract and taking it all in. I'm sitting in this office right now. This was built out of something invisible almost, if that makes any sense at all.
No, it does. So, it's interesting. I did a video last night, and I had my daughter pick her favorite soaps.
Oh, I saw that video. I want to have some words with her.
Well, but she did pick one of your. So you made the top. You're in the top 5. But it's interesting.
I like your wife's picks. I thought she did an excellent
job. She gets it.
She did. She does get it. So she picked. So she really liked this Santalum Fumus. Yeah. I still don't get the name Santalum Fumus. Am I saying that right?
Santalum
Fumus. Yes, it's Latin, Peter.
Yeah, well, I I don't know Latin, and learned it in school. I must have been absent that day, but I think it's a wonderful smelling. It doesn't smell like a Spanish bodega. Actually,
no.
I thought that was hilarious. You have to admit, that was funny.
Oh, yeah.
How she comes up with that stuff. But
yeah.
But I love it. My wife really, really liked this. But she also really liked this soap. I pronounced it wrong in the video. I called it sucre blue, but it's
yeah,
sacre.
I heard that. Which is kind of cool. I mean, sucre would be sugar, so it'd be sweet.
So what does sacre mean?
Sacred. It's French for sacred.
Okay, all right.
And blue is blue, the sacred blue. And since I based it on Aquavelva, which is blue, I thought what could be more perfect than sacred blue. And there's also a little poke at Cullen, who always uses French, so I thought sacre blue. And Christopher David Bailey would have a problem pronouncing it as well. And I tried to tie everyone into this one. I thought it'd be pretty, but here I am explaining it because no one got it.
Well, this is great, and so it's wonderful smelling soap. But so this is under the new banner, if you will, the new company, Crown King. So the soaps are made a bit differently. So they have cocoa butter in it. Is there anything else that's different about the soaps?
Well, cocoa butter is in all of our formulations. So I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, we have cocoa butter in the PAA formula too, but the difference with the Crown King line is that we've also added cocoa butter and we have shea butter as well. So it's more of I guess you could think of it more like it's butter formula. People might find it a little bit more moisturizing. The feedback that we've got from people has been that they've noticed it's very slick. So it's just got a little bit more of the creamy butter intensity and, brought down a little bit of the coconut oil. So it's similar, but it's definitely, got some extra...
And avocado oil as well.
And extra goodness in it. And some avocado.
But yeah, the post-shave feel is like to die for. I wanted something that had a really great post-shave feel also. Not that PAA doesn't, it's just different, And I wanted something, PAA, when I make a PAA product or a PAA soap, I'm also thinking of the aftershave that's going to follow it. And the ingredients are just in that aftershave or an extension of that scented soap I'm making. I just would assume that you're going to chase this with one of my aftershaves. So I have that all in mind when I'm formulating that. And then the more I think about it, people mix and match stuff all the time. They're not going to always do that. So how about a soap that you don't even have to rely on an aftershave or an aftershave balm for that has just a terrific post-shave feel? And that's what we formulated here, I think. So it's just another formulation. And it's also, since it's another line, we thought, well, what a better way to celebrate it than creating actually a completely different formulation as well. So...
Well, and it's always fun to go back to the drawing board and try to just, see what else is there as you, we were talking about this the other day as far as like, looking at all of our scents and all of the things that we've come out with over time. We still carry a lot of stuff that we've had around for a while. And, just watching our progression and the moods we're in and the different scents that come as a result of that. And, going back to the drawing board with recipes for soaps and aftershaves and all kinds of stuff is good. And, reformulating, you can come up with something you never really thought about before, but now you're just looking at it a little bit differently.
Or you
So
thought of
it's
before but couldn't because you were so locked in because you only had one recipe. And historically, we're always reformulating and formulating and so on and so forth. I'm going to stop using numbers now to tell them apart because it confuses some people. They think they're upgrades. And, rightfully so. They do sound like upgrades 1.5, 2.0.
Or we end up at 5.5 and
Yeah.
we missed like 3 and 4. And
Yes,
we don't know
right.
what's going on anymore.
But, it's just like... just constantly just creating new stuff. I mean, we're always creating new things, always reformulating. Some stuff you'll never see, and it's just like whatever impresses us and our testers, then we're going to go with. But I mean, it's really just not resting on your laurels and just constantly making stuff better. The more you learn, the more we do this, the more we learn, the better we can make it.
And we're lucky now to have a lot of people that are willing to, more than willing to test our formulas out before we release them and get feedback and, just kind of, if we're a little unsure about something, or it's a really different scent or something like that, it's just nice to have a community of people that will give you that honest feedback. So it's been really fun.
For sure. We're actually in similar type businesses. So I'm in the software business, right? But you're in software. But I tell everyone in my software business that, software is like a race without a finish line. You never stop running, otherwise you become obsolete very quickly. And I would say maybe for a lesser extent for you as well. So you have really good soap, and that good soap will be really good, a couple years from now. But it's good to kind of always trying to improve. There's a Japanese term, I think it's called kaizen, to constantly improve. And I think that's what you have to always do, and no matter what business that you're in, but especially in my software business, because you really become obsolete quickly, but also with you guys as well. So it's I think it's cool that you have this other formulation. Now, so my question is, what happens if you create this new formulation and you actually like it better than, let's say, the PAA formulation? At some point, are they going to kind of merge into the same? Have you thought about that?
No, we actually are working on another formulation for PAA as well right now, and that's kind of going to happen any day now. But I mean, like it's an equally good, it's another awesome soap with also great post-shave feel and so on and so forth.
So we just can't. Yeah, we thought about that. Let's come up with 2 new formulas that we like that are different. Maybe have a different user in mind, but they're both unique and their own thing. And an evolution from where we were before. So PAA is also.
It's just like we have so many products, Peter, that like you start with the soap, then the aftershave, then the lotion, and you go and you keep going on and on and on and on. You're a mile long, you're an inch thick eventually. So you get back to here. Okay, now let's revisit the soap now. So now we're revisiting our soap now, and we just revisited our lotions. They were coming in the 2 ounce, and then it was like, well, duh, we should be doing the 4 ounce, and it took us a year to figure that out, even though sales would have dictated a long time ago if I was paying attention to change it to a 4 ounce, but I wasn't. So it's like it's just part of our evolution. It's cyclical.
And we have a tendency to move so fast with product innovation and introduction that we're kind of in the cycle now of kind of going back and saying, okay, let's make sure we get all these other labels done, and we take a look at some of the deodorants and, see if we want to bring some new deodorants out, stuff like that. So we have to remember to go back and make sure that what we already have is the way we really want to represent it and put it out there. And so we're actually going through a lot of revamping of some of our other stuff as well.
Yeah, scents especially, because we have like 40 plus scents of soap right now. Wow. and aftershaves. Mm-hmm. And so we're looking at them today.
Are you?
Which ones we're going to discontinue? Yeah, we're going to discontinue a few and turn some into just seasonal scents. So I'll make an announcement before that even happens, but it's just something we need to do. It's just so we can make room, not necessarily make room, but just like focus on making some new stuff.
There's so many new things that I would like to make, and we just don't have all the shelf space for everything. So we just have to make some room, and
well, not only that, it's just when it comes to wholesale orders, these companies want to order, 10 of each, and there's 40 of them, and there's one that we haven't made in a long time and don't want to, so it's like, let's just, take that right off of the wholesale list and just stop making it.
What's going to be next? How do you collaborate and come up with a scent? And do you come up with a scent first? Do you come up with an aftershave first, or is it the soap, or how does that work? Or do you just experiment and throw some things together and say, this actually might work. This smells good. Or do you have something in mind? I'm going to do a tobacco and rose or whatever. Let's use Tombstone for example. Did you come up with the idea of, all right, I want to come up with something from the wild, wild west, and so it has to have tobacco, it has to have leather, and then you just experimented from there? How does that work? Or is it different each scent?
Honestly, we do probably a little bit of everything you just said, but Tombstone in particular, that is actually very similar to like the whole theatrical experience I was talking about, where you build a character, you do the research. I was going to visit Tombstone, taking the scents, the smells, and I approached that and this sounds so gosh darn pretentious when I say it, but it was like a scent collage. It's like painting with smell, like painting that picture of the Old West, and that's how I think about it. So you get yourself in that character, you get yourself into that moment, you get yourself in that place, and you really build it up. You immerse yourself in it, and that's where that one came from. That one was really unique in that way, though.
Tombstone was particularly unique.
Yeah.
How you built that.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it. I mean, you really smell that gunpowder. Which, do they actually make a gunpowder fragrance? I mean, how do you come up with stuff like that?
They do make gunpowder fragrance. See, the thing is, they make a lot of different fragrances, but a lot of them off the shelf or alone just don't work. So you need something that would boost it. You need to, it's tough. It's like, you could use the color white, but you might need off-white, or you might need gray. I mean, there's so much, there's on a CB radio, there's channel 1, but there's -1. There's -1.5. There's all these different frequencies that are still part of one. It's the same thing with scents. So a lot of times you'll get it out of the bottle smelling a certain way that's really not there, and you have to tweak it even more. Or you just have to create the scent all by yourself. There is no fragrance oil out there for it, so you kind of have to. There's a lot of trial and error. But I encourage everyone to try it, because it's nothing more fun than building a scent, from the ground up.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had the brains to do something like that. I would love to do something like that.
The nose. Don't worry about the brains.
Well, I already criticized my nose, so I don't know if that's going to work.
It's true. Yeah.
So Tombstone was kind of that layered, approach, and that was a really unique process, I guess, when he came up with Tombstone. And actually, at first I really didn't get it, and then I layered the essential oils myself one day, and I made it, and it was amazing to kind of get each thing unfolding one on top of the other. And then
actually, I want to cut you off for just a second. That's the thing, is when you're running a business, let's say a coffee shop, you have the people out front of the coffee shop bitching about the people in the back of the coffee shop that are making the croissants, the cooks, and whatever. And you have those people bitching about the people in the front of the coffee shop. No one understands what each other's job is, so it's easy to criticize. And it's the same thing with building a scent or whatnot. Or in my case, building this scent. It took her months before she realized it, until I had her make it on her own. I gave her the recipe till she appreciated it. And that goes to all you people out there as well. You may not know what goes into an app. It's just it's just a product, just that and the other thing. But I mean, until you experience or just try, it's like taking an art history class, actually. And I'm not talking about slides of fat naked women, though most of the classes are. But I'm talking, once you would take one of those classes and then you go to the museum, you have a deeper appreciation for what went into the painting, And that goes for anything. So it's just about, I guess, educating.
Yeah, and Tombstone is a really great scent to, I guess, develop your sense of smell. At least it was for me, because he got into these really complex blends before I did, really get into them as far as, 25 different things and putting them all together. And it helped me understand better how to combine scent, going through the process of learning Tombstone. And so, now just smelling it out of the bottle, I understand it much more.
You smell all the different layers. It's
a really cool. It's a cool scent. It's a great.
You would never think that gunpowder would actually smell good for right? But it works. It just somehow works. That's
the thing. That's why I say if there's a certain scent, people be turned off if you don't like patchouli, and you see it as an ingredient in a cologne or an aftershave or a soap, and you immediately don't want to try it because you don't like patchouli. But it might not smell like patchouli at all. It's just a supportive actor inside that cologne or inside that soap that's just helping. It's filling in a tiny little gap that you would not. It's one part of it, that it's not straight up patchouli. So I say give everything a go, even if there's an ingredient in there that you don't think you're going to like or don't like on its own.
Yep. So have you ever made a soap that, well, that one you were disappointed in, or that you introduced and you didn't think, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is gonna sell, and people ended up loving it.
Well, Tombstone as a soap was kind of a disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing a Tombstone soap.
No, you wouldn't have seen it. We tested it out, and it's just Tombstone is a scent, like a lot of scents that you have to wear all day to truly get into it. It's like a 1 or 2 or 3 act play where different characters come to the forefront throughout the day. So it's just multi-dimensional, and whereas a shave soap, it's just one-dimensional. It's a one-dimensional vehicle or medium for a scent. It's so fleeting. You're only using it in the moment, so it doesn't really have a chance to develop or interact with your body chemistry like a cologne or an aftershave does. So it just doesn't work.
Well, does it have to match? Does it have to match directly? So you have Tombstone, you have all these different layers, right? And it's kind of difficult to replicate in a soap. But could you have a companion soap that's not exactly like Tombstone, but it takes
we did that. Malpais. And the same thing goes for Alphine. Alphine is the same thing. You can't reproduce that as a soap. That's why you have Otra. You can pair it with Otra. Yeah, so there's matching scents and there's pairing or complementing scents as well, which I encourage people to do, because when you complement scents, you're more making that scent throughout the day yours. Whatever soap you use and whatever aftershave, it's so unique to you. It's not matching down the whole line, so you only smell like one scent.
Or cucumber soap paired with lime ice sage aftershave is really nice.
Yeah.
And I think probably going back to your questions, the biggest surprise for us probably this year was Dapper Doc, because that was an example of something that kind of got thrown together pretty quickly and not very it wasn't very thoughtful or intentional, but I mean, it was like, okay, these things might work together, and it's turned out to be just an amazingly popular aftershave and soap, and people just love it, and it's actually a great scent, and women and men both.
It's kind of
really
like
it.
I don't know if you've ever done this, Peter, where you've gotten like obsessive about a certain subject and you start buying books on it. Let's say Leonardo da Vinci. You're reading a book on Leonardo da Vinci, or a book that has something to do with Leonardo da Vinci. Maybe it mentions him in there, and then you're out shopping, and then you see another book that is somehow related to the book you're reading at home. You're like, oh, so you pick that one up too. So you end up going down this rabbit hole pretty much. It's all like, I don't know if it's collective consciousness or I don't know what I'm going very Carl Jung on this, but anyways, it was the same thing with that. Like, we were in Arizona, we were going to the ghost towns, chatting with the Wild West, learning about the Victorian period. I was reading about lilac being popular in the drugstores and the pharmacies. They were mixing them for aftershaves, or using that to mix aftershaves for men back then in the Victorian era, and then so it was like little things like that. All happened very in this small compressed space of time, and then we had this meetup to go to, and it's like, I need to make a soap for this Big Ben, and then it's like lilac, oh yeah, that's what they were using back then, and then it was, so it's like in a very organic way, like something was working through us. It just happened really fast, but there was very little thought going into. I mean, granted, all the research and whatnot, it just didn't seem like we were researching that much, but we were just immersed in it. I mean, it's kind of like. I don't know. It's like researching without trying to research. It's like studying without studying. It's like, when you immerse yourself in the language, you learn it faster. When you're listening to just Spanish music, you're going to learn Spanish faster. So it's studying without even trying to study. And so eventually...
Fragrance immersion.
Osmosis. Yeah. Osmosis, I guess it would be. And
well, I have that, the Dapper Doc, and I love it. And in fact, was it my wife or was it my daughter, I think? That was one of her top soaps. I was actually surprised with some of her selections, and... Same thing with my wife. I mean, Speakeasy was her favorite, and that's your soap, right? Yeah. That was her favorite. I wasn't surprised because, not that I don't like it.
Smells like a soup.
But it smells like a soup, and so it was more of a cologne-y scent. I just figured she'd pick something more flowery and sweet, and so I was surprised that she went with that.
It's a floral cologne type scent. Like, it's something that I think, the idea was, for me, it was like for a woman enjoys the scent because it's something she would like to smell, like, but it reminds her of, a mixed suit or something. And that's kind of like some of the imagery that women have about Speakeasy is like, it reminds me of my father's dress shirt, or it reminds me of, what you smell like when you're in a suit or something like that. And that's just kind of come out of like...
Exactly. And that's why Sacre Bleu she probably enjoyed too, because that's, again, based on Aquavelva. So that smells like either her dad or her grandfather, maybe.
Well, you're not kidding. So I don't know if you saw, I did a video a few weeks back with Vanulay, and there was a soap called something La Habana. I forget the name. Puros La Habana, something like that. It was a cigar scented soap. And
Cuban cigar.
my wife smelled that, and all of a sudden the tears started to come down her eyes.
Yeah.
And it reminded her of her father who passed away.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how scents can bring back these memories that are, and so that's but she did the same thing last night. So I told her, don't start crying now. But when she smelled the Sacre Blue, she said it reminded her of her father also. But he had Aquavelva.
Yes, that's what it is. And so that's great. That works for us. It's kind of like pumpkin pie, too. Like when I originally created pumpkin pie, it was for the scent-off that we were doing a couple years back on the Shopologist. And I thought I'd have a little bit of an advantage because I knew that pumpkin pie is an aphrodisiac for men.
It seems like the European and Asian vendors out there that are making these soaps, they're really limited to just a few. Like, I don't know if Arco makes anything more than what they make. And Parasso makes probably, 3 or 4 different scents. They certainly don't make, they don't have 40 like you do. So I wonder if Europe is catching on, or are they just really clamoring for the U.S.-based artisans?
They can't. I mean, there's laws there that we don't have,
it's
too.
It's so much harder, to get a product out in the EU market because everything has to be tested and approved. And it's just a much different process. So you can't just get up on a Monday and start selling a soap, a week later that you've developed. You have to
in your kitchen.
You have to, send it in and document all the ingredients, and it has to be approved. And
it's very costly.
A very expensive and time-consuming process.
Yeah. Oh, I just remembered. So this I keep wanting to say King Crown, but Crown King. So, but you're not limited to soaps and aftershaves. Oh. And this is amazing. This brush.
The Smythe.
My God, did you hit a home run with this thing? This is
my new one. Just released this one today. That one's made out of Towle wood.
Wow.
Towle. Yeah, it's 2 different. But this is our budget brush. These are going to go for like 20, and I think 20 for the Suave and $24.95 for the Duro. But yeah, these are the new ones that just got released.
The one the one in your left
Sorry?
hand. Put that up again. The one in your left hand. That's beautiful. That's wood.
Towle wood. Yeah, this is very popular in Africa. It's very exotic wood, actually. Very hard. It's mold resistant. It's kind of like ironwood is here in the desert. It's actually kind of tough to work with, too. It's a very tight grain, but it's very beautiful, too. And that's actually an early American stain on that one. And this one's like a blonde.
Yeah.
But it's very, very nice wood, solid. But Crown King is our brush line. That's what it originally was. It was kind of by accident that it turned into me introducing other products to the whole company. But it was originally going to just be Crown King brushes. And it's funny that you say King Crown first, because apparently King Crown is another wet shaving company that I had no idea existed. It's like King Crown 17 or King's Crown 1706 or something like that, and completely different. Crown King is actually a ghost town here in northern Arizona. It's a little ghost gold mining town, and that still exists. There are people still living there, but there's probably like five people.
We went there.
Yeah, it was like
Really?
Deliverance.
It's like a 30-mile road into Crown King, and
it's the elevation's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I mean,
there's like 3 buildings.
I'm just fascinated by ghost towns, and the more obscure they are, the more fascinating they are. And I think Crown King is like the name just says it all. I mean, it's badass. It's named after the mine they discovered there. The Crown King's mine, and they dropped the S to Crown King, and so that's the inspiration
you're
for
out
that.
for e-cigarettes, which I find interesting. How did you get involved in that?
Well, I was just a fan. I've been a pipe smoker for years, and I was really heavy on the pipe. I blame Douglas Smythe for that. Really smoking my pipe a lot and standing my teeth, so on and so forth. I didn't really like the nicotine, knowing that I was becoming addicted to something. So I quickly substituted, or not quickly, but I eventually turned to vaping. And like most people do, I started off with those little fake cigarette things, and those are horrible. I just don't even like holding those. This is more like a pipe. And So I switched that, and soon I was dropped down to like, I don't know, 6 milligrams of nicotine, and eventually nothing. So
Really?
I just weaned myself off of that, and I like the culture. It's very similar to the wet shaving culture, the vaping culture, cloud chasers. It's very, almost like the model car culture too. There's just so many little components. You can do rebuilds. I mean, it's a lot of fun if you're like into hands-on stuff. It's very simple. There's a lot of crossover between this and wet shaving. And I realized at some point, like, all the stuff it takes to make a juice, I already have in my lab. I was like, so I could totally do this. But the thing is, I came up with this idea at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I woke up and I was like, I'm going to start a juice company. And so I came to the lab really early. Probably got here at like 3:30 or 4, and just started researching. And before I knew it, the next day I was ready to rock.
Really?
And started a new company pretty much. Yeah, I bought the website when I came in. Like, I was really like gung ho about it. And so that just kind of happened. I printed this up for our other show. For all you vaping people out there, Cumulus Juice. See, I made the mistake of coming up with this wacky website. No one's going to remember that. No one's going to. I do it to myself.
No, I don't know how you do it, both of you. I mean, well, Douglas, because Douglas is more out in front, and Francis is probably the brains behind the operation.
Clearly, I mean.
Well, thank you.
But I don't know how you do it, because whenever someone, if I PM you, or if I write something, or tag you, I mean, you're on it pretty quickly, but you're always working, and you've got all these different. Yeah, but I don't know. Do you sleep?
A little bit. He sleeps a little bit.
Very, very little.
Yeah, it's a balance. I mean, it's for us. We came out here to work, to try as hard as we could to build this business, and really dedicated like 7 days a week. And we don't have children, and we don't have pets, and we don't I mean, it's just
we love doing this. I mean, like, I can't see myself doing anything else like as intense as we do this. Like, I mean, so that's just it's a joy for me. Endorphins are released like joggers or whatnot when I'm working. So I'm in this constant state of like bliss.
We make sure to stay healthy and go to the gym. And
that's another thing. I could be answering your questions, Peter, when I'm on the treadmill or something too.
Well, you're very lucky. I mean, I feel.
There's more balance to our lives now that we're into it. For a couple years, we have more kind of normal life. Like, taking the business out of the house was, I think, a really good thing for us, because it was sort of like stumble out of the bedroom and like go start packing orders kind of thing. And we definitely get out and go do more stuff now than we did. But it's just
kind of. But even using like this weekend as an example, like, we went to Tucson. We stopped at Old Tucson, and what am I doing? I have like these brushes in my pocket. I have all types of gear with me, and it's like I'm using it as a photo op. So I'm like posing stuff around, so it's like I can't even enjoy this little ghost town or environment or theme park, whatever, without some type of work. It's like the cruise we're talking about, the wet shaving cruise, doing that together. It's like this. Everyone's talking about how it's going to be a vacation. I'm only into it. I'm only in it for the wet shaving part. Everyone wants to know where we're going, what the itinerary is, and then like all I can think is wet shaving. And where it's going to be a vacation for everyone else, it's going to be 5 days of me like intently like working.
Yeah. So, but with this,
but actually, it's my excuse as a vacation though too. It's the closest thing I'm going to get to one, I think, on the high seas.
Well, you need to get on vacation. You need to get away from work completely, because even this is going to be work, isn't it?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. 5 days now, or 7 days, however long. Yeah. But no, it's fine.
We get lost at sea, and it never ends.
Chicago was like 5 days of like. Granted, we did some, touristy stuff. We went to the Bean and the museum and so on and so forth. We all hung out. That was a great time, but it was like 5 days of like, of that. So I can only imagine being trapped on a ship with all you lunatics for 5 days. I can't wait.
That's going to be a blast. I'm definitely going.
It's going to be surreal. It's going to be like, that's when I can die. If we pull that one off, and I think we're going to, like, there's so much.
It's like a vacation right afterwards. You just get on a plane and go to Europe.
yeah. I don't know if that's I'm going to need like 2 weeks to recover, but I'm just extremely excited about that one.
And truth be told, like, I think that certain people need a break. Like, they have to take a break and integrate, like, what just happened here? Like, what's really going on? I need that a lot more than he does, I think. Like, I do, like, have times where I just shut it off, and and I'm not as involved in the conversations going on in wet shaving for sure. But I don't know. This one just doesn't seem to need the downtime as much as other humans for some reason.
I don't know what it is.
It just keeps going.
Well, I think Douglas hit it on the head. When you're so into it, when you love what you do and you have the passion, it's not work. I mean, I kind of feel the same way. I work out of the house, and so I roll out of bed at 6 in the morning. I'm on the computer, and I deal with Australia. I'm all over the world, so I mean, I'm presenting at 1 o'clock in the morning. And when I go on vacations, I bring my laptop with me. I mean, I was in Cabo at the beach doing a presentation, but it's not work for me. No one else understands. I guess you probably understand it, but I don't consider it work.
Where you're doing your thing, you're like, this is just my life, and I appreciate that I have the opportunity to do this. I mean, like you've shared before how much you love what you do. You get to travel. There's just a way to look at it where it's just a positive all over the place.
Some people can't do it though. Some people cannot do it. They want to be like, they want to work like a satellite from home and so on and so forth, but they just can't do it.
They don't want to work.
They're not punched in, and they can't. There's two types of people. There's people that can do it, and there's people that can't do it, but want to do it. And it takes them trying it out to realize, I can't do this.
There's so many,
you're not held accountable.
Yeah.
There's so many distractions. It's easy to say, I'll do that a little. You got to be a certain type of person.
Yeah.
And
well,
that's true.
Listen, I've kept you much longer. I lost track of time, but I told you 30 minutes. It's probably been 3 hours. So, but I really enjoyed speaking with you. Really good to see you two again. And I guess I'll see you, I think, soon, maybe. There's going to be a meetup in November, yeah. I won't miss that, that's for sure. Well, I look forward to seeing you both. Thank you for your time. I really, really appreciate it. I wish you both great continued success. And we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks for doing this, Peter. It's awesome. I really like how the series is turning out.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Ciao.
All
right. Take care.